they did against EG yesterday. So let's get things started with our very first map between these two teams on Clubhouse. Reciprocity starting on defense. They're going to go to the bans first. Clubhouse banning an attacker.
I mean, it's going to be at least one hard destructor, but it looks like G2 are going to be the ones forced to do just that. Very likely that we'll see a Hibana taken out here, though it's not a guarantee. With the way that G2 has been banning lately, there might be a little bit more flexibility, and yes, indeed, there will be. Ying taken down. So those two operators, Glaz and Ying, actually share a very similar position within a team that they can pretty much challenge anything, and yeah, there's not a lot the defenders can do to counter them directly. So getting rid of both of them is going to give us an interesting match. But what I think is even more interesting is the fact that we have all three hard destructors on Clubhouse. We've actually been seeing this a lot more often lately, and it's not crazy surprising. It's just going to make it a very interesting match and a much more fluid Clubhouse map overall, and that we're going to have a lot of open walls whenever the attackers deem necessary.
Yeah, you usually see Maverick occupying that role of one of the hard breachers being banned, maybe a Hibana as well. When impact tricking was as important as it was, you'd see a lot of Hibana bans so that you could counter the lone Thermite who existed at the time. But things have changed a little bit since then, in large part due to the site of gym and bedroom being changed around just a tiny bit. But nothing outside of the ordinary for Reciprocity. They're going to go downstairs first. They're going to go to church and arsenal room.
I mean, we've got two umps being brought on both the Castle and the Pulse. Castle, of course, much more relevant in the meta recently. I mean, he's been on an upturn for quite a while now, actually. About right around when Sophia was released. And then we've also got Pulse, one of the more prevalent information operators on the defense at this event. What's curious is, I mean, we don't have Valkyrie being banned, but she's not going to be brought. Considering how high her ban rate is, you'd expect her to be played when she's not taken out, but that is not the case here. There's still plenty of information, it's just all going to be from default cams and Pulse. All things considered though, this is one of Pulse's best bomb sites, period, so lots of information. Reciprocity is going to be able to figure out where the attack's coming from no matter what.
5 seconds left.
Also, we know, you noted the dual UMPs that are used by Reciprocity. Well, that's a pretty powerful part of their portfolio.
Nice.
I can alliterate for a second there for us. Especially with the Pulse, you have Foxay that can run Pulse, you have Waxing who can run Pulse. In this case, it's going to be Mark. And then you've got Retro on the Castle. A lot of teams, especially in North America, bringing a Castle when defending CCTV Cache, Gym Master, and also Church, so the three main sites that we see outside of bar stock. Teams will use them a little differently. Sometimes your Castle barricades will go down in the lounge. We see that more often. The two sites above are defended. But since we have a Church defense, you're likely going to use it to try to slow the advance, possibly down blue, possibly even from dirt, if you're not going to contest it, possibly at the double doors, all the way at the bottom of main stairs. 45 seconds on in, and still G2 inside of the building. Drone work going on in Kanto on Maverick. He's going to be one of the three hard breachers that G2 are rolling out. Fabian's over on blue, and he doesn't spot somebody playing behind that mechanical unit at the bottom of the stairs, but he's in a position where if somebody rotates, it's going to be a good opportunity for Fabian to be able to get an early pick.
We just saw a successful double impact trick from Foxay in the kitchen by the drop down. 2 sets of Excaros for Pengu were wasted. The third opened the drop eventually, but it makes you wonder, was that really necessary? There is an excess of hard destruction, yes, but the option was available to put the Maverick there. I'm guessing Kanto Ricchetti just didn't want to risk his life. We have seen Mavericks die there before.
This could get really hairy with Kanto as he pokes holes in the church wall. And that those 3 panels are reinforced. You can use some hard destruction on it like an exothermic charge. You can just poke holes and make everybody's life a living hell on the other side of it. Fabian is still dedicated to holding blue for the time being, and as the smoke of Foxay rotates on over, he gets caught by Pengu, but not enough damage to really make a serious mark. Ricchetti using the last of his breaching charge here on the castle barricade inside of Moto, and Jonas will get everything started by taking out Mark. Pulse gone and information also falling with Kanto using those peak holes. Take one down and looking for more.
Maverick been such a powerful operator so far in this round. Jonas going to take out Foxay as well, so Reciprocity are falling by the wayside at this moment. Goku going for a plant just inside of his breach by the black box. Typical plant spot. Retro's going to get the first kill for his team, and Laxing will follow it up. Very impressive to manage to put 2 kills on the board, but it might all be for naught as we are in a post plant now. Goga finally finishes off Retro. It's all up to Laxing. He'll have to retake into the adjacent site, and very unlikely to happen. Challenging onto the kitchen drop down. He goes for some shots in the dark, but nothing's gonna come of it. Above him, Pengu will finally shut him down. G2 take the first round.
Unorthodox start to see the attackers take out Church. Not impossible, but improbable, given the way that we have seen that site defended, especially over the last day or so, and going back all the way to the group stages as well. Amazing how that castle defense that was set up by Reciprocity was almost completely thwarted, and the fact that there was a Maverick on the board. Now, a lot of people think about, you use a sledge, you can use the frag grenades on a Finka or on a Buck, if need be, or even on the sledge as well. You have an Ashe, you have a Zofia that can possibly take out these castle barricades. The thing with Maverick is that he can open up a window that you are completely protected behind as an attacker. A lot of people really think about utilizing Maverick in that way. We don't actually see his usage on the go towards castles. He's not really a full castle counter, but...
I think the main reason that doesn't happen very often is you leave yourself very exposed.
Yes.
And a lot of players would rather just play it safe, open up the hard destruction, or hard walls, the reinforcements, and try to make something happen in terms of, well, that whole hard destruction, anti-hard destruction game, because Maverick counters that so directly. I mean, you can't bandit trick him, you can't get him with mute jammers. There's not really a whole lot of options to dealing with Maverick on a hard wall. So usually that becomes the focus, right? He gets pigeonholed as an operator, but certainly, yeah, castle barricades, they are very powerful when used correctly by the defenders, and if you can disable that power, then it becomes effectively a worthless pick. But on the castle, that is. But it's not necessarily a one-way street. Of course, opening up those holes leaves you very exposed depending on where it is. In this case, instead of Moto, great choice.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we might see an open castle barricade pretty early on here from Jonas.
Sledge is a good counter, especially with how much Reciprocity runs castle on this map in particular. Whereas the UMPs are just the utilization of those castle barricades. You find that whoever's got that role on Reciprocity tends to thrive. It's Mark in this position. You've seen Retro have it before. Has good control at the moment, at least for G2, but the momentum will be blunted. See, IQ of Fabian gets felled just outside of the strip hall by Laxing.
Nobody watching for a refrag there from G2, and it looked like Fabian was trying to clear solo in through strip. That's very dangerous. Who's gonna refrag though? Takes him a little while, but Laxing gets his second as he runs out from strip club itself and takes out somebody on the west balcony. Laxing having an excellent round. He is stranded right now and can very easily be isolated by the attacking team, but he's done his job no matter what. At this point, he's just looking to get some extra time taken away from G2. Pengu, who had gotten a kill earlier, finds himself on blinking HP. He's gonna go down really easily. Luckily for G2 though, they have plenty of time to go for a reset.
It was a very early engagement from Retro there, and Reciprocity takes those kinds of chances quite regularly, actually. They did it against EG, they do it against other teams in North America. It's the unpredictability that we see of both Laxing and Skies. You can have it from Foxe as well, and Retro in particular, doing it in that instance.
Trying to hunt down that roamer.
Inside a strip as well. So you can see there's a very dedicated effort from G2, but I think Jonas's hesitation right now is just killing too much time. Pengu takes out Laxing as the Jaeger will go for another run out and get shut down very swiftly. And Pengu's still low enough that even one tick of the toxic canister from Foxe will likely take Pengu out of action. You noted that there was plenty of time to go for a reset. And they haven't. Sometimes you gotta throw your drones a little bit gentler. Foxe pops up, goes through Jonas, who'd had a calamity of errors, first and foremost, with that drone. You also see the X-Karo stuck on the bathroom wall. The Legion of Skies engaging on Goga's. Now Goga takes a little bit more damage. Skies pops up, sees a second, and both of them fall to Skies. Reciprocity answers back, and a rare defensive victory on Gym Bedroom will tie our match up.
So, not able to win the standard bomb site downstairs, but they can win the off in Gym. That's quite, well, not necessarily surprising, just impressive to see from Reciprocity. A lot of that had to do with Laxing's roam by Strip Club. putting those kills on the board and then delaying for such a long time. I believe he was also the one to damage Pengu earlier in the round. His frags, again, coupled with his play, so very important. Foxay with the aggression here. He heard the rappel on that balcony, on the south balcony, and he just went for the push. He had the confidence. And again, this is one of those things that Reciprocity, I think most of their players, in fact, all of their players, the whole roster, has that confidence to take any fight that G2 will present them with, and it's given them an edge, at least in that last round.
It's a good note in the top right corner of your screen. Skies and Laxing have faced the G2 core twice before during Season 4 and 5 finals. Both were 0-2 defeats. I think the more memorable one was probably the Elevate Penta finals. It happened at Gamescom.
Yeah.
After a run that we saw from Elevate, surprising a lot of people, barely squeaking by to be the third at the time representative from North America, back before APAC competed in the Pro League finals. A lot of people had written off Elevate, very similarly to the way that a lot of teams have probably wrote off Reciprocity here. This has a very tough word to pronounce.
Reciprocity?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I understand. It can be difficult at times. I honestly think, though, in this match, again, with the way that we saw the match play out, Reciprocity EG earlier, yesterday, in fact, I really don't think that counting Reciprocity out is fair going into this, especially not with how we've noticed recently that G2 are, yes, they are still world champions, but they're not as dominant as they had been in the past. I mean, they're not winning all of these matches so decisively that you're already calling them the, tournament victors before it's even finished. I think it's a wait and see moment here for G2 and Reciprocity both. We're going to learn a lot about both of these teams in this match in particular.
I know that a lot of people want our predictions heading into a match, and I was asked a couple times on the way towards the stage, who do you think is going to win? I genuinely have no idea whatsoever.
I've been saying that since the group stages, to be honest. Like, there are a couple matches where, yeah, okay, there's an easy prediction, but we even saw a lot of those easy prediction matches go the opposite direction. So this has been, I think, so far, in terms of all of the matches, one of the most hotly contested tournaments we've ever had in Siege, if not the most.
Church is going to be a big focus now as to whether this is going to remain as close, as now Jonas is going to try to take out the smoke. Foxay getting away with an engagement that I don't know if he really should have been able to take.
Yeah.
But an excellent job there as the smoke pushed on up, almost found a kill on the Kanto Raketti. There could possibly be another body there, and there it is! Foxay finally manages to get him, traded off by Pengu above. Taking Pengu off of the hard breach, stuck him on the Zofia instead.
Look at all that soft destruction in the kitchen floor. I mean, Foxay peeked that hole knowing it was there. Retro's gonna take down Fabian, who's trying to push his way by Blue, and it's gonna be a refrag from Jonas coming in from Moto. Sky's right on top of him though in Arsenal. Goga makes it to default plant spot. This is huge. He doesn't have blue control though, and Retro's doing a lot of damage to his teammates, leaving just Goga alone versus 3. I've seen clutches like these before, but the calls are just too precise, and Retro shuts him down. Reciprocity finally win basement defense.
A couple things went differently there. Number one, there were a lot of fights that were taken by Reciprocity that were completely unpredictable, but the rest of the team played so far back. Body stacked up in blue, and you took out Fabi, and you realized that you can play all the way in blue at the back of Arsenal as well. You can play over by dirt if need be. Because at that point, your push is going to come from where? It's going to come from Moto, it's going to come from main stairs. You can hold that down pretty effectively. You've got a Maestro sitting all the way, just waiting patiently as Skies does. There's nowhere to go at that point. G2 lost control just outside of the main push. Now, here's something pretty remarkable. We're heading to bar stock on the main floor. I heard somebody in the crowd say "what" out loud when I said that.
I wanted to say what.
Because that's your thought process here.
I saw it on the screen, and I was just like, what? No, why? Why is the question. And I think the answer has to do with the playstyle that Reciprocity is bringing today in this tournament. Remember Foxay? I think the play that Foxay had last round really perfectly encompasses how Reciprocity are handling this match. Foxay went for a peek from Arsenal on an unreinforced wall. He made the melee hole himself, and he shot Kanto Raketti, the Maverick, who was trying to open up the church wall. Why did he do that? Because Cantor was such an important role in the last time G2 attacked the bottom floor. Cantor you could say, won that round for G2 on Maverick. Fox8 knew he needed to deny that Maverick opening the wall, and so he didn't care about the soft destruction above him. He didn't care how risky the play was. He was doing his job. He accomplished his job, and he did it ruthlessly. And I think that's how Reciprocity are playing. I think that this bomb site might work to their advantage because of that, but I don't know. I actually have no basis for that prediction. I'm just making an educated guess because this site does not get played.
The only real times that we've ever seen this played in North America was when this squad used to play under Cloud9 with Goddess on the roster. They pulled it out a couple times against a variety of their fellow countrymen to mixed results. There was, of course, that memorable last-second clutch. I think it was by Nyx falling off of the defuse. But that was so far back. I think Schlongi was on the team, so that's...
I don't remember.
This goes to show you how long ago that was. If we don't know what's going to happen in this actual matchup, we certainly don't know what is going to happen in this round.
I mean, it's an interesting setup. You could see that they're relying on jungle being impenetrable, and that's not going to work to their advantage. Cantor on Maverick's going to get two. Huge through one Maverick hole. See, Reciprocity will get two of their own, but elsewhere, Fabian coming up from the basement, and he's just trying to poke a hole in this defense along with the players from G2 coming from the strip hallway. Reciprocity are going to be relying heavily on that top floor.
Mark went for a deep roam, come back to site at some point undetected, could be really helpful for the rest of his team, but both teams will be fighting even. Fabian's lost a little bit of HP, Mark's lost a little bit more. You've still got Retro and Skies in play as well. Then you got Kanto and Pengu. Overall, both teams are essentially at a stalemate. I don't think Retro's position has been given away as a whole whack of these dummies from Alibi just sit in front of Fabian. Sky's coming back down, trying not to alert the Zofia. There's Mark to take out Kanto. Where's Sky's gonna go? Oh no, he looks the wrong way, and Pengu gets an easy frag. Walks in, takes out the Evil Eye Cam, but Mark has sights on that diffuser. Control for G2 on the site, but where are they gonna go? Where's the smoke? His position given away as his arm exposed to throw out one of the toxic canisters, and Fabian is quick on the hunt. C4 will do nothing. Fabian losing the fight though to Retro, finished off. Trying to go for a second, but can't grab it as Pengu refrags, walks right back in. There's Mark, he's still got that diffuser. Which way, left or right, Mark? Make sure that you're correct on this one. Pengu coming around the corner, he sees him, he knows exactly where he is, but he fails on the pre-fire, still nails the last shots. It could have gone real bad for Pengu, but it doesn't. And G2 equalized on a very risky bar stock defense by Reciprocity that almost works out.
A couple bad calls there from Reciprocity is why they lost that round. The impatience from Skies pushing into the bathroom, followed up by Retro just avoiding the fight with the secondary player who he clearly saw. After that, we saw Mark drop down instead of deciding to play on the drop. Why did he commit to holding the diffuser on top of it? He's playing against a Zofia. He knows that because his teammates have called it out on the camera. He must have expected the lifeline to come out, but he did not play appropriately given that information. A little bit of some poor calls again from Reciprocity. G2, though, very nearly lost that one, as you stated. Could have easily been a Reciprocity round. It's not great for them. They'll be going to Gym now. First site they actually managed to successfully hold, and I mean, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Cash seems to be ignored right now by Reciprocity. It's weird. You don't see that very often.
There's gonna be a reason for that.
I mean, the Reciprocity Reciprocity Cash defense is a very specific hold. The way that they do it is that they hold on to Garage firm, they hold on to Cash firm again, and they rely on the mirror windows that look into servers from both of those locations.
5 seconds remaining.
But without having Mira, I guess the Reciprocity strat fall through. We have seen Reciprocity try that Cash defense strategy without a Mira before at this tournament when she's banned, but it hasn't worked out very well. So I guess the mentality is, hey, we have a strategy we like on Cash, it's not working. If Mira's banned, let's not force it and let's just go somewhere else.
This is interesting here. Look at that. Is that Castle Barricade preset by Retro? He's lying prone on the stairs, prone on the red stairs, just waiting for somebody possibly hit it.
You think
Maybe
it's
Jonas
prepped?
go over? It might be prepped. That's what I was asking. I mean, question, Michael. I asked you a question.
I didn't see him hitting it, but it would make sense if it were, yeah. It's also possible he's expecting someone to open the window for him.
Right.
G2 sometimes has been known to pressure from that window to cut off rotation on these stairs. It's a dangerous play.
You got a sledge in play every single time. One of those castle barricades will likely be hit and then just open wide up. But Jonas isn't even close to being over there.
Yeah, it's going to be actually a clear into cash. Now, this is interesting. Reciprocity are holding construction, but they're not holding cash. And because of that, Jonas can push on in. He knows there's a castle playing in here. It's been droned out clearly, and that's why the pre-fires are coming out. But he's not going to make the push until he has someone else to drone, mark, and give much newer information. So the patience here from Jonas is smart. He's just waiting for a teammate.
G2 just made a really interesting play. Kanto Raketti was over by the B-bomb site over up top, as was Pengu. Pengu hit one of those concussive blasts, and it hits Foxay inside a gym. Foxay peels off, and then both Kanto Raketti and Pengu drop. And I mean, it worked. There you go. Kanto Raketti picking off Mark the Shark, possibly waiting to see if someone's going to push out from Strip Hall. That's where Goga's playing right now. There's a mute on the board, so you might have to dispatch that pesky jammer in order to be able to get that exothermic charge off. Looking for it. There you go. Kanto Raketti is accurate as ever, but tussling with some pretty simple furniture as he can't get past the lawn chair as the exothermic charge goes off. A minute to play with for G2.
Reciprocity don't have a lot of control right now. We've got Retro on the main stairs, Sky's in office, and Foxay playing bathroom. Foxay is the sole anchor responsible for holding onto the site right now. And Retro's trying to hold the hallway to support him, but that's not a whole lot. Gas canisters start coming out from Foxay inside a bathroom, and Jonas might actually get an easy angle here. Laxing's gonna get an easy angle for himself, and it's gonna be Fabian who goes down elsewhere. Gogo going for a rush, but Foxay has repositioned wisely, and Gogo will be shut down. That's Diffuser in hand of Reciprocity. Pengu will refrag, but it's a back and forth as Retro with another shotgun takes the position that Foxay just left after he died. Pengu challenges though and gets another refrag. He's on top of things. Jonas is there to support, and from behind he's going to eliminate Laxing, who is trying to flank Pengu, allowing for the plant. What a play from Jonas. Excellent cover, and G2 take the round.
A motivated and confident Jonas is a scary, scary thing for any team. I feel like yesterday he was the one willing his team to victory over Space Station for much of the day. He was an absolute standout performer. I know that we like to joke around a lot about how it's Fabian carrying the weight all the time, who for the record doesn't have a kill yet. I just really wanted to say that, that's all. There's really no purpose outside of that.
You got it out, Parker.
I got it out of my system. But Jonas yesterday helping will that team to life through the latter half of the Space Station matchup. And he, for so long, inhabited that role on G2, when they were known as Penta, as just one of the best players in the world, so accurate. He's been overshadowed a little bit by Kanto. He saw a different role being used as well. But over the past 2 days, this is almost like vintage Jonas coming back. And if he can continue to play like this, not just in today's matchup, but if G2 prevails in tomorrow's matchup against Empire, then I think overall G2's chances soar in comparison to where they are right now.
Old school Jonas?
Old school Jonas.
So we have to call him Eunice now. If we're going old school.
That's true.
Yeah. He actually doesn't care. He said that there's multiple different ways you could pronounce it between English and Finnish, and he's like, yeah, I'm Eunice.
When I asked him, he was like,
whatever.
Oh, Jonas is like what he said.
Jonas.
That's how he said it.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
It's Finnish, so it's difficult.
So, doesn't matter what you call him. He's always gone by Jonski in game. I did ask him. I said, you want to start calling you Jonski? He goes, no. All right, cool. So,
well, we're not going to do that.
But focusing on his role in particular, he's sat on this sledge every single time, knowing how much Reciprocity runs the castle. It's a good operator for Jonas to pick. Now, there's two things that I think, given the fact that we still see Reciprocity running that castle every single round. Number one, you understand that there's going to be a sledge on the board, you don't really care, and you just have ways around it. Or two, you don't have strats that don't involve a castle, and you can't really have that flexibility to swap off. The only reason why I say that is because you remember that Nip phase game? Every single time we said, why doesn't Nip run an IQ? Just run an IQ, just run an IQ. They never adapted, they never made that change. It ended up being a massive issue for them, and a big mistake. Could be the same from Reciprocity here, but that's just speculation.
I mean, there's two different theories, or two different thought processes, I suppose, that Reciprocity are trying to employ with the castle. It's either A, it's going to allow us to play more dynamically in the site, as we don't have to deal with this angle in particular, castle barricade. Or B, it'll, you know, prompt us to somebody peeking the angle instead of us being completely exposed when they do. So, yeah, it's still useful. Even the castle barricades getting eliminated, they're gonna help somewhat. I'm just going to be opening up the kitchen floor, and good control over the back of Arsenal, but that is expected. And because of that, Reciprocity will just fall on back.
Nope, Buck being ran by G2, that would be, you've seen Jonas play the Buck an awful lot. He's on the sledge instead, does totally different things in a lot of different ways, and the application of Jonas' sledge can be different, but for the time being inside a kitchen, it's going to be all the home improvement that they need. Yeah, Kanto Raketti now also working on dirt, and for us, we can see there's somebody playing in there. It's laxing on that Valkyrie. Rare to see Reciprocity on a Valkyrie, as it tends to be their most banned operator, especially on defense.
I mean, it is their most, but it's just hands down. They don't like that operator typically, and I think that Reciprocity needs more info. That's why they're bringing it. Early frag here from Yaldis. Laxing going to take out Kanto Raketti as he attempts to push into the dirt tunnel. One inside of Arsenal gone for Reciprocity, but one in dirt tunnel for G2.
The Smokes will just try and isolate Fabian on the main stairs, anticipating somebody coming in through Moto, but there isn't. There's going to be one last logic bomb and one last smoke canister that gets tossed by the Dokkaebi, as G2 have full site control. And that smoke is beautiful, as G2 is just in right now, ready to lob a frag grenade all the way back. Catch! But he doesn't get it. Pengu takes down Skies. It's a trade. C4 goes out, caught by Pengu. Fabian falls. Pengu doing so much work right now. He's got every kill except for one for his team on this round. Mark is currently being isolated himself from the site. There's so many marks for him to go in. Hard in the pot, a 4K by Pengu. What a play. On attack, G2 just takes Clubhouse 4-2. That's not how things are supposed to go on this site and on this map.
Oh, Pengu was actually inches away from not getting that kill. If we had seen a little bit more patience on Mark, just a second, he might have been able to catch the rotation, but timing is unfortunate there for Reciprocity. That aside, the overall hold was the real flaw for Reciprocity in that round, and Pengu very specifically was able to pick apart players as he entered the site. I mean, it was a drop from kitchen, so nobody shutting down that kitchen drop is, I think, one of the more specific problems with the hold from Reciprocity. I don't think we saw, no, we did see a smoke in the cross, so that's forgivable. People inside of church were also simultaneously being distracted on their site hold. However, here's the thing, the main highlight, I'm sure you guys are expecting it at this point, 4 attacking wins on Clubhouse. And now G2 gets to defend. I think that, yeah, there's gonna have to be some pretty miraculous play from Team Reciprocity to bring it back at this point.
Yeah, this is trouble.
Yeah.
This is trouble. It doesn't even necessarily matter which, you know, whether we're in an attacker or defender side of meta. What matters more is the ebb and flow of a map. And on Clubhouse, you don't usually win more than 3 rounds. I was going to note that when we were in round number 5, or round number 6, the conclusion of round number 5, that hey, G2 have 3 wins on attack. How often do we see that on Clubhouse? Very infrequently.
And Pengu is the reason why, as you can see. And he actually has been refragging his teammates non-stop throughout this match. He's always finding himself in a position where he's got somebody there to either drone for him or somebody right next to him who will take the bullet first, and Pengu's still alive, not missing his shots, and Reciprocity are really struggling to handle him. But that was on attack, and now on defense, I think it'll be a much different story. Kanto Raketti usually is the one to shine here on defense, especially on Clubhouse. He tends to play that alibi on the top floor, and he can have a real presence that is hard for Reciprocity or any team to deal with using those Prismas. It's actually one of the most effective uses of Prisma we've ever seen. It's not something only G2 has done, but still. Retro will take out Pengu, so all right, top frag dealt with. Already a good round for Reciprocity.
Oh.
I think he went unnoticed.
Jonas might still be seated in the bathroom without the drone spotting him.
Yeah, it's possible. This is why you have to check your corners. We've seen mistakes be made like this before. But if it actually causes problem. Ooh, Cantor knowing where the tracers are coming from, even though he's not the one being shot at. Excellent game sense there to take out Skies on the balcony.
This could be a significant issue now, too, especially if Jonas still hasn't been droned. Sitting inside a bathroom, he can hold down kitchen. If there's anybody there, from our perspective, we can see no. It's not the case. There's no bodies. There's one that looks to be over by the freezer. It's now rotated out. It's the Hibana of Fox8. Double hard breach for Reciprocity. Means that if you lose one of them, it's not the end of the world. Still got an exothermic charge from Retro. Kanto's waiting. That window broken, actually, by the Hibana on Reciprocity's team. It will be their own undoing. As the two smokes from the Capital go in, and Reciprocity will realize that it's time to act, and act quickly. Fabian falls to Laxing, and Reciprocity finds themselves even, despite the two earlier losses. Mark pushes in through blue. He's got control of the boxes at the back. There's another body in blue. Goga will find Laxing, but he's got so many bullets it doesn't matter. Kanto a monstrous round, but Fox8 will drop. He has control over by B, and luckily enough, he's also got that diffuser, but the marks will be his undoing. Blow him up, Jonas says. It'll blow the round wide open. G2, what a triumphant round. 5-2, the scoreline, and that's what you gotta be doing on defense.
So it's going to be a tactical timeout here from Reciprocity, and this is the right moment, I think, to hit pause and try to evaluate the situation. They came actually dangerously close there, for G2's tastes at least, to bring it back towards Reciprocity's favor, maybe get us to a 3-4, but wasn't close enough. Why? No roam clearing happened. I mean, look, right here, there's the setup. It's the attempt at the roam clear. Skies was trying to come in from the balcony. Mark's droning him in. They're going to clear out top floor, starting with Jim. Makes sense, right? But Kantor gets that frag onto Skies, and there's not enough muscle for Reciprocity to clear the roamers anymore and still have time to hit the site. They just don't have the power. Because of that, they committed to a surgical strike into blue. The Capital bolts actually really helped. That was possible for a moment. But because the drop downs were open, the rotations available to the roamers from G2, it was a pretty easy return to site. Much more importantly though, Goga repelling the attackers in church as the only anchor in that round. He played a huge role. If Goga had not been playing in church, it would have been an easy take for Reciprocity, likely a plant inside of church itself, and then a hole in the post.
So a site that we haven't actually seen get played today will finally emerge, and that's CCTV and Cash. Odd to say that and not with bar stock, but I mean, hey, Reciprocity made a gamble on the bar stock on that first floor. It almost worked.
Yeah, I think the bar stock was interesting. I'm pretty sure that Reciprocity just wants to rethink their cash hold before they start bringing it again, which makes sense. I mean, sometimes it takes time to plan out those strategies. It's also, yeah, a pretty well-known hold at this point, and one that G2 had to have made counter strats for. Not bringing it did end up, I want to say it ended up costing Reciprocity, but I think they probably would have lost that one anyway, again, considering how predictable the strategy is at this point. Now,
5 seconds remaining.
5-2. G2 going to their second most loved site here on this map. The setup is going to be pretty standard. About as standard as it gets, to be honest.
A lot of teams have struggled against G2, especially North American teams, with how aggressively G2 confronts this, or attacks this, and holds this garage, attacks the attackers in the actual garage itself.
Yeah.
We've been very critical of the clash play from G2. That's what the operator that Jonas is on right now. He's at the doorway of the garage, just trying to hold off. Possibly anybody gets pushed on it. There's another body from G2 that's playing upstairs on the rafters as well. Just some covering fire. It looked to be Kanto playing there on the Jaeger, and it's a good place for a Jaeger to be, especially with that carbine doing as much damage as it does.
Yeah, the carbine going to be a good pair with the clash, as you can get some explosive power out onto anyone Jonas will see. Yeah, we've seen G2 bring Clash before, but we haven't really seen them have amazing rounds with her. Just hasn't seemed to fit their playstyle. I think that on this site specifically, it is a comfort, well, not a comfort pick. It's a specific role pick. You want to hold on to Garage? Well, Clash can really assist you in that. Foxy's going to eat a lot of damage as he comes into the building, and oh, firebolts on Jonas. He'll actually go down, doesn't manage to rotate in time. Well done to Mark the Shark. And those bolts and doing so much area damage.
I don't know if we've ever seen the Clash be successful for G2.
Yeah, I don't remember a time we have.
No, we've been very critical of it, but Kanto's always effective no matter what you put him on. He's going to shut down Fox-A in the garage. Take out one of the two hard breachers, leaving that exothermic charge in the hands of Retro to possibly be able to pull something off. Pengu inside of CCTV right now, looking to try to take an engagement around the bomb site. He's got a deployable shield there as well, but can't find the targets that he's looking for. Snap back to Kanto Ricchetti with Mark, essentially daring him into a fight. It's not a challenge that Mark wants to take, knowing that Kanto is going to have a significant advantage. A drone and a projectile or a tossable get thrown up, and the ADS will eat it. Kanto blinded for just a second. He's gonna have two sights on him as now Retro is on in. The smoke will move Kanto down. He's completely covered, but look at that Mark, and he'll land it. Goodbye, Kanto Ricchetti. Even though Mark the Shark gets spotted, he still ends up winning the fight, and Laxing on the entry catches Fabian off guard. Now this is Reciprocity in the driver's seat, a 4v2 with only 30 seconds to go. But never count out Pengu and never count out a Maestro, no matter who it is. Pengu will try to even the score just a tiny bit. Down goes Mark, now sitting and waiting. So that CCTV wall has still not been opened up yet. There's nothing really to worry about. 20 seconds to go, finally the hard breach is gonna go down. Pengu creeping up, sees the buck of skies, looks the wrong way, and now Goga will have to be tagged in to assist. As Reciprocity is spread out, they're coming through the garage. They've got bodies on either side of CCTV. One spreads in, and Goga missing the shots, but Pengu doesn't. Takes out Skies, Goga's there as well. And the clutch factor from G2, as it's on 0-0-0, and he falls off the plant. Match point for G2. Never, ever count out G2, even when they're down as many numbers as they were. Like we might be putting Clubhouse in the books pretty fast.
It certainly seems that way. Match point, as you can see, will be what Reciprocity has to face. That last round seemed like it was going their way, going so well. I mean, we saw Laxing solo clear out the roamer ways from the site on the west side of the building. After that was established, the pulse gone. It was a pretty easy push for Laxing to come into lounge and then later try to push into the site. The main problem is that Reciprocity got control of garage. They knew they had a control of garage, and then what did Reciprocity do? They tried way too late to try and open up the server wall and push in through the server window. You need to use garage if you have it in hand, and that push probably could have been advantageous. I'm guessing the reason they didn't commit to that is they were afraid of the potential angle that could have been played from inside of server. Because the server wall wasn't open, it's easy to pick off players pushing up the garage stairs if the rotation hole is there as a defender. But there was no time to risk just stacking everyone into a server push, not having garage presence. Laxing did manage to get there eventually, but it was, I think, a little bit too late because there were no established angles from Team Reciprocity, none whatsoever, to cut off the rotations of the last two G2 players. I mean, they had complete freedom of movement and were able to take any fight they pleased. And G2 wins the fights when they are the ones choosing them.
Cover me, reloading!
So we're going to see yet another garage hold, which has worked very well for G2. Even though they did lose the garage, I think with, what, 40 seconds to go in that previous round, there's still enough bodies to cover the garage, and then it's too little too late for Reciprocity to go for the vault through the window, and then he's run out of time. The fact that it took so long for that exothermic charge to go off, that was puzzling. G2 has won 4 rounds after being in a man disadvantage situation, aka they battled back. A story of thriving under adversity, or while facing adversity. This is something that we saw a lot in Paris, actually, was that when EG and G2 were battling, it didn't matter if EG had a masterful lead in terms of man count. You could never count G2 out, even in a 1v3 or a 2v4. It's something that they do so well, and when G2's coordinating like that, they almost never lose. It's almost like they're playing perfect siege.
Well, rotation cut off here on the main stairs. Good job of Reciprocity to open up that window, knowing that now the roamers from G2 are going to have to go on a long rotate in order to get back to site. Laxing's going to hold that angle, I'm sure, for a long time. Kanto Ricchetti, trying to play in the garage. We've seen him do this a lot, and Reciprocity were ready for it. They have downed him. The problem is, Jonas is nearby, and Cantor Ketty could very easily be picked up. In fact, I think he will. Reciprocity doesn't seem to be aware they've downed Kanto, and he will get back into the fight. But look at this, only one rotation hole into Jim, and that's full control for Reciprocity. C4 comes out from Pengu, and he will take down Foxay, but that also means that that C4 can't be used to deny the plant. Bad skeleton key from Skies, and he's actually going to get the follow-up as Pengu peeks into it. Poor calculation from the Bandit.
I'm actually astonished with how much control we see from Reciprocity right now. And if G2 don't hurry to get back, well, they're in trouble. There's Kanto to take out Mark. Still a lead in favor of G2, but this could go real bad. Fire blowing away, but Jonas looks the wrong way. One body drops. Fabian takes out Retro with that C4. As the two remaining members of Reciprocity will have to be as good in the clutch. Skies walks right in, finds a freebie on Jonas as Jonas is unable to get the disabled needed. Goga is down and Kanto realizes, hey, let's bring him back. It's a 3v1 now. Fabian can finally frag out, takes out Skies, and one kill away as there's Fabian. Handshakes all around, ladies and gentlemen, in the books. Clubhouse, G2 taken 7-2, and it's a masterful performance as we look towards map number 2 on Coastline to see. This is going to be a quick affair for the defending and reigning world champions of G2.
That was a very one-sided match. We saw a lot of the same play from G2. Cantor Ketty playing in Garage, for example, in that last round. He's done that a lot, and he even got punished for it and down, but the punish wasn't full. Reciprocity never got that kill, so when both Jonas and Cantor Ketty came back from the roam, Jonas after picking up Kanto, Kanto after being picked up, there was so much power from G2, and because the anchors were able to delay for so much time, Reciprocity were in a tricky spot. I'm curious as to why Reciprocity didn't go for the plant a little bit sooner in the round. Again, there was only one rotation available into Jim, and that is easily cut off. There was no C4 down below. They could establish that quite easily because the drop down was open. I don't know. There were options aplenty there for Reciprocity, but I think they got a little ahead of themselves and a little distracted. Blacksing also played on the main window